In the sunshine, a grid forms on an increasingly drying road here in Macau. We've had 2 races this morning on a rather wet track, but now for the Macau Roadsport Challenge single race, the road is in a far better state. A grid full of Toyota GR86s or Subaru BRZs, the 2 eligible cars for the Roadsport Challenge, and 8 laps in prospect.
And for the first time today, we've had 2 races already this morning, one for single-seaters for F4 cars and one for touring cars with TCR Asia Challenge. For the first time today, we haven't had an indication on the timing screen that the race will start behind a safety car. So we will get a warming up lap for the Roadsport cars, and then according to schedule, an 8-lap race in prospect. And one thing that you can be sure of is a very bright grid. Number 18 is Sir Car Hing, who took pole position yesterday, a time of 2:21.583, and a very, very impressive pink and white livery. Absolutely assures you can't miss the number 18 car on track, alongside the predominantly blue and white car of Ivan Seto, who took second place on the front row of the grid with a 2:53. So that gives you an idea. A 2:53 for Ivan Seto and a 2:51 for Sir Car Hing. Sir Car Hing was very good in qualifying yesterday to take pole.
Yeah, he really cracked on and got on with the task in hand. The Macau Roadsport Challenge caters for the drivers out of the Macau Roadsport Championship who have finished 16th or lower, whereas next weekend's 70th Anniversary Challenge caters for those in the top 15. It's divided into 2 groups, and there are 4 events to sort of qualify, if you like, for this. There is a car that lines up 5th on the grid that was damaged in free practice, not badly, but enough to render it out of the action. But Vincent It just got on with the job yesterday and qualified 5th in the end, ahead of Lam Kam Sam here, who is 6th on the grid, the second row. Chen Da-Jing, number 66, who caused a red flag yesterday by crashing, and their number 68, 7th on the grid, is Suen Se Lo. You've seen Riley Sham's car as well, that was 4th on the grid, but number 68 of Suen Se Lo, another driver to keep an eye on, as will be this, number 99 of Yung Chuk Lun, the Winson Motorsports Toyota GR86. They had quite a few red flags yesterday across the sessions for them, but it's good that the cars, pretty much in the main, are all fit, ready to go. Kwok Kai Wang, number 48, is next, or Joe Kwok, to give him his Western name.
And got such enthusiasm.
Absolutely, I was about to say, you can see how enthusiastic Joe Kwok is, ready to go racing. Chan Cha Ping is next in 54, the Norris racing car. And carrying on down the grid, 28 is Michael Wok. And he's another driver eager to get going. 84, that's the car of Chan Chek Yin, the Hong Kong driver. 13 is where you will find 71 of Wang Wencheng, and that's a car that's had 2 race wins over the course of the Roadsport Challenge. So Wang Wencheng really ought to be higher up the grid than that, but should make some progress in this race.
Yeah, qualifying in 13th place, a little bit out of order according to the previous results thus far. So everyone gets the chance to have their moment on TV, and quite right so, because many drivers on the grid this weekend, because we've got a 2-weekend celebration of the 70th Macau Grand Prix, means that maybe some of these drivers wouldn't normally have found themselves racing on the Guia circuit. So huge opportunity, and obviously they are predominantly very, very excited about the prospect of doing this. The good news is they're not the first race of the day, so therefore the track has had good opportunity to dry out. Just looking out of our commentary box window over to the grid, there are still wet bits. They are either side of the track, not in the middle of the track. So it has dried, and that's taken a couple of hours to get to this stage.
That's Sunny Ko, who is 18th on the grid. Another of the drivers from the regular championship, 20th in his group he was. Number 29, there is Lo Hio Fong, the Macau driver, 21st in the championship in his group. And 19 20th in his group, Lo Chun Hin for SS Racing Team. The course car has just gone blasting away, so the countdown continues, ready for the start of the formation lap. Cameraman wades his way through back of the grid as you get to number 53 of Mike N. In 53, the car of N Chi-lung. Helmet on in a moment for Wang Cheng 2, 22nd on the grid.
It's a little bit last minute to be putting the helmet on, isn't it?
There's laid back and there's laid back, isn't there? That's leaving it to the very last, I think.
I'd have anxiety at this point, wouldn't I? Because the personnel are actually being cleared from the grid. And, not only have you got to put your helmet on, but also get strapped into the car as well.
So the last couple of cars then, we've just seen Wang Cheng To, and then there should be, or there is the provision for, 3 more, but I suspect they won't be there because of accidents over the course of the weekend. Number 30 of Lo Hung Piu, then 86 of Yu Kam Chung and Lam Chen Chung missing from the back of the grid. So that's just confirmation of what we've seen, with Sekar Hung at the front with Ivan Sito, then Chen Da Jing and Roly Sham. Vincent Yip and Lam Kam San rounding out the top 6 ahead of Swen Se Lo and Yung Chuk Lun. Joe Kwok is on the 5th row along with Chan Ka Ping ahead of Michael Wong and Chak Chan Yin. Then Wang Wen Cheng, Leung Chun Yu alongside him. Kenneth Wong on the 8th row of the grid with Lam Hong 5 a company ahead of Tam Yang Fit and Sunny Ko. Lu Hu Fong and Lo Chon Him are ahead of Mike Un and Wong Cheng To to round out the grid. So 8 laps it will be, and we are expecting a conventional start, so a formation lap and then a grid start, which would be our first of the weekend.
What a colourful grid as you look down, a very full grid as well, at least 11 rows of the grid, and you can see the fact the sunshine has come out now, and the weather forecast is that we'll have this afternoon sunshine all the way, which is good news. We started wet, we've dried out, and now we've got sunshine looking down, and hopefully a nice temperature this afternoon as well. It will still be humid, that's very much the weather of the region. But also something unique to the region is the bright and colourful liveries that we've got for the Roadsport Challenge. As David has said, Toyota GR86s and Subaru BRZs this year gives a new look to the Macau Roadsport Challenge. But certainly the Toyotas and the Subarus look very well suited to the Guia circuit yesterday. A great race in prospect. I wonder if Ivan Sito could do something about that 2-second deficit on lap times in qualifying yesterday. It was very impressive, that, for Sekar Hing on pole position, a 2:51.5, and we stand by, count down for the race to get underway.
So the 1-minute board will be shown, engines will fire, and that's the indication for the last of the engineers to make their way off the grid. I'm tempted to say this is going to be really dramatic, because with a road that is almost dry, but still with the odd damp patch and local enthusiasm to factor in, it's going to be quite spectacular, this.
It really will, yeah. The fact that we've got a dry track now and our first proper race start of the day. We've not seen one so far because the races have been starting under safety car. That means as soon as the safety car pulls away from the grid and the cars follow, the race is underway. They are already racing, so this is our first opportunity. I'm going to keep all my fingers crossed that everything goes according to plan, but it's our first race start of the day. In fact, the first race start of the 70th Macau Grand Prix.
So the last of the officials make their way off the grid. The engineers go with them, having now wished their drivers well, fired up the engines, and we'll just check in a moment about the back of the grid, make sure we know who is there after the rigours of yesterday. But it does look as though the last car is going to be that number 23 of Wang Cheng To. So there are 3 from the original entry missing because of damage sustained yesterday. Just these 8 laps then for the Roadsport Challenge drivers, and it promises to be a really spectacular race as well. The Roadsport Challenge this year catering for just these two cars in pretty much Group N sort of production saloon spec, rather than allowing the levels of modification in as it used to for things like the Subarus or the Minis or the Fords that we had, and one or two Peugeots on occasions as well over recent
the RCZ,
seasons. That's right,
it?
yeah. So it's a different look, as you say, but it evolves the category, and as the green flag drops, these very popular GR86s dominate numerically. They blast away, and this is a last chance for the drivers now to just explore where the grip is, and perhaps more significantly where the grip isn't.
And we'll have a look, and as they make their way off the grid, we noticed that the circuit was pretty dry. I wonder if there's still going to be some, because there were big puddles, weren't there? So once they go around turn 1 at Reservoir and down towards Mandarin, either side of the road, there were some big puddles, even in the last race that we had for touring cars, and you can still see the sunshine reflecting. Yeah, it's a bit wet around Mandarin still, so that's a very, very fast corner indeed, Mandarin, and it's got the challenge of a few puddles around there, so that's interesting. Now on the run down towards Lisboa and into the right-hander, a classic overtaking place here at Macau. It's dry all the way around there, which is good news, up towards San Francisco and the climb up San Francisco Hill, where the track gets narrower and narrower. I'd love to know the process of the original design of this circuit, because it is a circuit that has absolutely everything, doesn't it? It's got undulation, which drivers love. It's got twists, turns, slow corners, fast corners, wide sweeps and wide straights as well. It is a huge challenge and a very rewarding circuit for all that drive it, and that is the chosen few around the world, because it is only a circuit for one weekend, and every decade 2 weekends of every year.
And it's small wonder therefore that so many people relish any opportunity to come and race here. It illustrates really why, when the GT races have been put on, they have attracted such a good grid, and spreads the word as well. People coming from far and wide to race here, and watching around the world as well. The Macau name becoming more popular and more recognisable as a destination on the back of the Grand Prix. 22 then is Lam Kan San. He's going to start 6th on this grid. I think it's going to take a little time, isn't it, for everybody to arrive back at the end of the formation lap, ready to go racing, but back they will come.
Not the first time we've seen the field spread out on the opening lap. This is just the formation lap. We had this behind the safety car on the previous race, didn't we?
We did indeed, but at least the drivers will stop. It's not a rolling start, so it will be a slightly tidier getaway, and what we saw yesterday, you're just seeing again now.
Yeah.
Every time there's a heavy break, on come the hazard lights, like it's an emergency stop. So
you can imagine the teams, can't you, saying, you're not braking hard enough.
No, exactly.
How do you
the lights
know?
aren't coming on. Yeah, yeah. So if you know that a driver is pushing because he hits the brakes hard, and on come the hazard lights. So the pole position car has arrived back, and now this is where the pole driver, Sei Kar-hing, there he is, looking the white and pink car, discovers what's on the CD player or what's on Apple CarPlay, because he's going to occupy himself for about 10 minutes while anybody else finishes off the grid. So the idea of a warming up lap is to go quickly enough, of course, to get warmth into the tyres.
Interesting angle for Ivan Sito as well. That's the Brands Hatch top row formation, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah, slightly cambered away. So gradually a grid takes place.
This is going to take ages.
Yeah, you're not busy later, are you? So that's 6 we've got for the front of the grid now. Make that 7. Up comes 68 of Swen Lo.
All that tyre heat is kind of dissipating, isn't it?
Exactly right. So the pole driver, Sei Kar-hing, did everything right, went storming along and generated the warmth, but others kind of wonder what they thought the purpose of that was.
Where are they?
Look, even the course cars are sort of shepherding them along now, the sweeper cars.
Goodness me.
So there is...
Oh, this is really
54.
damaging.
Yeah, Chan Kar-ping, I think, is the one that's rather taking the mickey there by being quite slow. But anyway, the rest are coming. And assuming he's still awake, Sekar Hing in a moment will look towards the lights. Just finishing his VAT expenses and everything else while he waits, and then it'll be good to go. Right, back of the grid forms then. So, as part of the 70th Macau Grand Prix weekend, green flag shown at the back. The drivers now look towards the lights. 5 red lights will go on when the lights are extinguished. The Roadsport Challenge underway. The great start by Ivan Sito. He gets the drop then on Sekar Hing, and he's going to be on the inside line into the lead as they get down towards Reservoir. There's one car stranded on the grid, incidentally, as the Macau Roadsport Challenge turns left and battles its way down to Mandarin.
Great start there by Ivan Sito. He put his car at an angle. He clearly knew something that everybody else didn't, but got off the line absolutely superbly. He's under pressure now as they go through Mandarin, the very quick Mandarin on the run down towards Lisboa now, but it's Ivan Sito that leads. It's the pole position car of Sekar Hing who is in second place, and everybody else jostling for position, trying to avoid the multiple puddles on the run down towards Lisboa. But on the outside line is Ivan Sito, but there's a change for the lead coming out of Lisboa. The overtaking position on the Macau Guia circuit is down at Lisboa, and the pole position car of Sekar Hing has got the lead.
That was a bold pass. 1 or 2 others went a little bit deep in the background. I think Ivan Sito also braked fractionally late and just couldn't quite get the apex of the corner, could he? So he sort of opened the door there. There's the second wave. Look, as they head up the hill for the first time. The one car that was stranded on the grid has been pushed into the pit lane, incidentally. We'll identify that in a moment as Sekar Hing now really spurred into action after that pop start, wasn't he? He's getting on with the programme now. He's hit the front and he's trying to get away with Ivan Sito second. Roly Sham, number 2, running in third place.
Yep, certainly does. So Ivan Sito now needs to keep in touch with Sekar Hing on this tight and twisty section. The most used overtaking position on the circuit, although T-top cars do squeeze their way through on certain sections of this tight and twisty part of the circuit. The ideal place is where the pole position car and leader did it down at Lisboa. So Ivan Sito needs to stay very much in touch with the number 18 car on this part of the circuit, and then see what he can do on the run down from the Melco hairpin up towards the completion of lap number 1.
Wang Cheng To is the driver that was pushed into the pit lane from where he will start, so he's lost about half a lap while that car was fired up. As out of Donna Maria down to the Melco hairpin they come then for the first time, and we've got the top 2 still absolutely tied together. Ivan Sito is going with the leader then of Sekar Hing, and he closes up under braking. Roly Sham in third place out of the hairpin, dropped downhill for the first time, and as that leading, what have we got, 6, 7 cars then in a train, comes down through Black Sands on lap number 1. Sekar Hing looking good up front.
Yeah, certainly he is, and Ivan Sito doing a good job of keeping in touch with him as well. Bear in mind that there were a couple of seconds between the two of them in qualifying yesterday. Their pace seems to be a little bit more matched now, until you get to the part where the cars can stretch their legs, and Sekar Hing with the lights flashing again, telling us that the braking is heavy, comes across the line and completes lap number 1 now with an advantage of 1.5 seconds over Ivan Sito. Well, that kind of maybe a little bit more gives us a glimpse back to qualifying yesterday. Taking pole position by 2 seconds is pretty impressive, it has to be said, on the front row of the grid, and Ivan Sito is just left a little bit breathless where the cars can stretch their legs.
Yeah, Sekar Hing looked very, very good indeed yesterday, and he's carrying on that good pace. But Roly Sham is coming under attack as well now, because Chankar Ping, number 54, right up behind him, and he in turn is under attack. Look, 3 wide down towards Lisboa, because a really brave effort comes from Lam Kan San on the inside, and just avoiding the barriers there, and being forced out wide under braking was Chankar Ping. So Roly Sham drops back, but the one that's really been on his toes there out of all of that, look, was 22. So through on the inside line, Lam Kan San gains a couple of places. He is making very good progress now, look, up into third place.
That was brave and determined stuff, and has already pulled away. That was pretty monumental, going through abreast, going down towards Lisboa, but it worked, and the car is already pulling away from the 4th place car, and now all he has to do is set about the business of bringing down the gap between himself and second place Ivan Sito, who has in turn on the twisty part of the circuit seemingly closed back up onto the back of the leader.
Yeah, you're right. I think Lam Kan San's going to be the one to watch, though, isn't he, in that 3rd place, especially if these two get themselves together and battle for the race lead right now. So through comes Say Ka Hing, Ivan Sito behind him, and the margin was over 2 seconds in terms of a lap time in qualifying. Now it's about 2 inches, nose to tail, as they come down to police. Ivan Sito throwing everything at it.
This is it's so interesting to watch how the number 18 car, the race leader, Sir Ka Hing, was able to pull away to stretch that advantage on the quick part of the circuit after the Macau hairpin on the run down through Black Sands and down towards Fisherman's. But on the twisty part, it is certainly Ivan Sito that seems to have the advantage. Well, he's about to come into his own once again, is the race leader. And oh dear, it all gets a bit funny getting up towards one of the back markers. It's the 23 car that they've come along, and that's the car of Wong Cheng To, and gets out of the way. It was all a bit confused, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the one that stalled on the grid, started from the pit lane, and clearly still has a problem. So, in a sense, it didn't really matter because they couldn't have overtaken there anyway, but it did rather delay them a little bit. It's broken the rhythm. It's brought Lam Kam San even closer to them. That's, I think, the real talking point out of all of that, because he is closer to Sito now. This is going to be the end of lap number 2 as they come up towards the timing line. So, Say Ka Hing, it will be in the lead. Ivan Sito in 2nd place, and then Lam Kam San from 6th on the grid, charging along behind them as they come over the line. He's not quite there yet, but he's almost there. He's 8/10ths back on Sito, who's 6/10ths back on Say Ka Hing. But again, on this part of the circuit, Say Ka Hing showing that he's got absolutely enormous cojones, because he's so brave, isn't he, out of reservoir. This is where he uses that bravery and that speed to build the gap again.
And down through Mandarin they go. Very, very quick corner with damp patches on either side of the road. This time, Ivan Sito is keeping a little bit more in touch. He's got more momentum going onto this quick part of the circuit. They're coming down towards Lisboa now on the outside line. That is a very damaged number 48 car as it limps its way around at great speed. There was no challenge for the lead, but Ivan Sito much closer that time to the race leader.
Yeah, Joe Kwok is the one with the damage. You've just seen number 48, and Lam Kam San has dropped back a little bit. Now, what did Joe Kwok do? He ran wide coming onto the pit straight, smoked the tyre barrier, took the left front corner off the car, went from one side to the other, and that's just momentum that carries him across the line. So Joe Kwok is out of the race, no question about it. Lam Kam San 3rd, being chased by Roly Sham. But it's on this part of the circuit where either Ivan Sito is the braver, or Say Ka Hing is, if you like, content just to slacken the pace because he knows there's no room for him to be overtaken. But certainly this is where the gap comes down. But it's hard to gauge, really, whether it's the race leader almost toying with Ivan Sito here.
Well, you can see that Sir Ka Hing, when he came over the line last time, you could see that there was an advantage. It was notable to see when they came over the line and completed the lap. It's that second part of the circuit that Ivan Sito, through the twists and the turns, you might be right, is able to take it a little bit more calmly going through this, the race leader.
Safety car.
And safety car is being deployed for the recovery, presumably, of that damaged car.
I would imagine so, and that's going to bring Lam Kam San even closer to the leaders. So Say Ka Hing does it absolutely right, slows down instantly, and scoops up everybody behind him. We've not had everybody being quite so vigilant of adhering to safety car regulations today, but as soon as the boards and the flags were spotted, so the leader Say Ka Hing slows the pace right down and comes into the Macau hairpin ever so slowly.
Look at that, shadows. We've got sunshine here at Macau now. The day did not start in quite that way, but the weather forecast is that it will continue until the close of play at the end of this afternoon to be sunny. And that's very good news for the huge crowd that we've got here for the first weekend race day at Macau. 2 weekends for the celebration of the decades of Macau. 70th Grand Prix celebration this weekend. Loads of extra little things have been done by Macau. There are presentation boxes with little biscuits that are given out to the media, and it's always something. I've still got my 60th anniversary little glass paperweight. I know there's always some nice little touches to celebrate, because the people here, the organising people, the residents of Macau, they're so proud of this event. It's such a big sporting event, not just a sporting event, but an event in Macau's annual calendar, and they celebrate it. We were saying yesterday, weren't we, during free practice, that all of the hotels, they totally embrace it. You speak to anyone in the hotel and they'll go, oh, you're here for the Grand Prix, how cool. and they absolutely love it. It's not an annoyance to their daily routine. It's something that they embrace.
It brings so much to Macau, doesn't it? Whether it's people, whether it's the media attention, whether it's helping the economy, because of course there are so many teams here, and many of them here for about a week, if not more. So it's revenue through the hotels, the restaurants, the bars, the casinos. Right, the Joan Kwok car being retrieved. There's the Urus safety car that awaits, and now on instruction it sets off, scoops up the field behind. We've done 3 laps, incidentally, so the clock ticks on down.
It's an 8-lap race, this one.
Yeah.
And the only race today. So both of the races we've had so far for the TCR Asia Challenge and for the F4 race that we've got this weekend have got 2 races, so they've got another one to look forward to. This is the one chance to shine for the Macau Roadsport field, and under the control of the safety car, they thread their way down at safety car speed, and hopefully that's not going to take too long to recover that vehicle. It's one of the wide parts of the circuit, so an easier recovery, if you like, to get racing back underway. Number 18, Sir Ka Hing, hasn't made a mistake thus far, despite the attention, certainly on the twisty part of the circuit, from Ivan Sito. Make no mistake, every time they go into Lisboa, those two very, very exciting indeed. Overtaking point number 1 here at Macau, going through Lisboa with the Grand Lisboa Hotel just on the outside of the corner. All cars must close the gaps is the instruction from race control. Race control are very busy trying to give out specific rules and regulations to be adhered to under the safety car, under the control of safety car. But previously they were very polite and sent a message in the previous race saying please. They didn't say please then, so they're obviously a bit crosser.
Yes. 30-minute time slot, by the way, for this race. We've done about just under 12 of those 30 minutes thus far, as the race order is still Sir Ka Hing ahead of Ivan Sito, and then Lam Kam San in 3rd place, the Macau driver, ahead of Roly Sham. Vincent Yip, despite being caught up in an incident in free practice, his car has survived the weekend thus far. 5th, ahead of Chan Ka-ping in 6th. Yuen Chut Lun is 7th, ahead of Chan Chat Yin 8th. 9th is number 71 of Wang Wen Cheng, and Kenneth Wong rounding out the top 10. So only 9th is where you find a man that's had 2 race wins this year, Wang Wen Cheng, not really making the progress that really would have been anticipated.
Under control of the safety car in the Macau Roadsport Challenge for 2023, and always this is one of the highlights of the local drivers' opportunity here at Macau. It always provides great excitement. It very often provides a very exciting race as well, and it's a new look this year to the Roadsport Challenge, with just the 2 marques being represented, Toyota and Subaru, and so far it has provided us the usual close racing that we're used to. Sir Ka Hing at the moment has the advantage, leads the field from Ivan Sito. Lam Kam San in 3rd place, which was the move of the race so far, without doubt, getting 3rd place down at Lisboa. Exciting stuff, that, wasn't it?
It was a really bold pass,
yeah,
very definitely.
Yeah.
And you get the feeling that Lam Kam San will do more if he can against Ivan Sito. So track conditions now making you think it's a different day compared to what we had for the F4 qualifying race bright and early this morning. And the drivers are going to have to do another lap, I think, behind the safety car. The light's out. I've not seen a board saying that it's going to be in. I can't see a green flag on the start line, and the lights are still flashing, aren't they?
I don't know, I couldn't quite see. Yes, they are. I did worry this morning, is it going to be a whole day of wet? Just a look at the damage that was caused to the 48 car, and the reason for the red flag, for the safety car rather. And yeah, I did worry this morning whether it was going to be a whole day of wet running, because the Guia circuit is such a challenge and such a great circuit for drivers. They want conditions like this. They want to be able to use the cars to their maximum and control the beast, rather than just tiptoe around and try not to slip on a wet surface.
That tar barrier which of course the reason you have tyres are to absorb impact, but it shows you even what damage that can do, because the bulk of that wreck was done by coming through that little, the end of the tyre barrier from Joe Kwok, and you could see how it completely ripped out the left front corner. So that's a tyre barrier, never mind hitting the concrete.
I've just realised why I said red flag instead of safety car, because we got so
old.
used to saying it yesterday. Yes.
Because you've not had your pills.
Quite aging. We had so many red flags yesterday. It was so difficult for everybody concerned, really, because most of the sessions had at least 2 and probably 3 red flags. It's an inevitable feature of racing on a street circuit that you need to have safety car interventions for the recovery of vehicles, and on free practice and qualifying day, the safety car doesn't get deployed. It causes a red flag to come out. So yesterday was tricky. Today we're seeing great racing at Macau.
Next week, just looking ahead to the Macau Grand Prix, the Formula 3 Grand Prix, there will be for the first time the inclusion of a virtual safety car regulation to mirror what happens for those drivers in the FIA European Formula 3 Championship.
It's what many of them are already very used to.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Now, pace quickening, which rather suggests that we might be in business at the end of this lap, so the race officials trying to get the Macau Roadsport Challenge back underway. But Ivan Sito nailed the standing start. He's going to have to be just as good on the rolling start, if you like, the restart, to have a go at Se Kar-Hing for the race lead. This will be the end of lap 5 of the 8, incidentally.
How good was that start from Ivan Sito with the slightly different angle that he got on the grid? He certainly knew something that we didn't.
It was a demon getaway.
It was,
yeah,
superb. So Se Kar-Hing it is that leads the field behind the safety car. Ivan Sito in second place. He was keeping very much in touch with the race leader on the tight, twisty parts of the circuit. And then when we got down to the swoops, down through Black Sands and down towards Fisherman's Bend, that was where the race leader seemed to have the advantage. And they would close back up when they got down towards Lisboa. Let's see what happens this time in the sunshine here at Macau. 20 to 11 local time in the morning. Through Donna Maria, the left-hander, and then to the Melco hairpin. No overtaking throughout the whole course of the weekend for the Macau Grand Prix, or the Macau Grand Prix weekends this year. Safety car is coming in this lap. That's confirmation. So let's weave those tyres. Let's get heat back into the tyres to get this race start back underway.
Here they come then, as the safety car will head for the pit lane. So the tyres are being warmed. The Toyota GR86s then that dominate the entry numerically of Se Kar-Hing, of Ivan Sito, of Lam Kan San, get ready to go racing as they come out of Fisherman's, and a really good restart look from Se Kar-Hing. He's gone, and he's about 2 lengths up then as the cars accelerate now down towards Al Bend. The Urus safety car goes straight on and comes into the pit lane, and it's going to be the battle on for second place by the look of it. Ivan Sito versus Lam Kan San. Green flag flutters on the start line. We're back racing then as the temperatures rise, and drama in the background. More cars in the wall, and that was 41, which is Vincent Yip. And who's the other one that's got involved with him? Roly Sham.
So on the restart, 2 cars, one either side, and they're still racing. Of course they are, for the top 3, and this is going to be exciting on the run down towards Lisboa. Through Mandarin they go. And then the potential overtaking as they get down towards Lisboa, because the top 3, because of the problems behind on the restart, just clipping the barrier on the exit of the final corner before the race gets back underway. Sees 2 cars, one either side of the circuit. I want to see Lisboa now, please. Back towards the live pictures, and they've been through San Francisco, and the result is we've got a new car in second place. It's Lam Kan San that has got the advantage over Ivan Sito, and that happened. Hopefully we've got now a replay of how that happened going down into Lisboa.
The incident on the start straight was a bit like Joe Kwok's, wasn't it? Roly Sham just ran wide. I think Vincent Yip's incident was sort of panicked by seeing a car going off ahead of him, but
which is understandable.
Yeah, indeed so. The 2 of them then in strife, but Lam Kan San, as you say, up the inside at Lisboa to take second place, and now that's his target. So 6th on the grid to second place, Lam Kan San, and he sets off in pursuit of Se Kar-Hing now.
But Ivan Sito is not letting him get away, and the danger with this is that the 2 of them battle away for second place and allow Serkar Hing to further pull away, because this was the bit of the circuit that Ivan Sito was able to stay in touch with the race leader. If the race leader can get an advantage on this part of the circuit, because the two of them are battling for second place, then it's almost checking out for the race for the race leader.
Yeah, I agree with that, as there is then the fight for second place. So you've got Lam Kan San ahead of Ivan Sito, this new order. In fourth place behind them, it's Chankar Ping now, benefiting from the dramas coming over the start line. Roly Sham's car out of the race with the damage on the left front corner. Very similar, not quite as bad, but very similar to Joe Kwok. He's parked it up against the barrier, where it looks like there might even be a little access point, but safety car deployed again.
Yep, not surprisingly, two cars that are stricken either side of the circuit. That's going to take a little bit of work. It's an 8-lap race. They've completed 5 laps. So the field are going to close up once again. I'd love for there to be inter-car conversation now between Ivan Sito in third place, Lam Kan San in second place, saying, OK, we need to work together on this. On the restart, we need to work together.
If there is a restart, because
we're
going to have 2 more laps. One of them certainly behind the safety car. But it does depend how quickly they can move the cars. Yeah, did Vincent Yip? I think Vincent Yip got going again, 41. So it's just Roly Sham. I think Vincent Yip is down in 19th place, but his car did survive.
It's still going to take 2 laps, isn't it?
It depends where the nearest access gate is, I think, because you know, it's not that far. The brief shot we had of where Roly Sham had parked made me think it wasn't that far from the pit exit, but it depends where the officials can easily take that car to.
So for the second time, this race under the control of the safety car, and this time it's a different order in the top 3, because Lam Kan San on that run down towards Lisboa. Hopefully we get a replay of that action taking place, because we were watching the replay of the incident when the cars came out of Mandarin and headed down towards Lisboa.
Okay, so that section of circuit seems to be sham free. In other words, maybe he's at the other side of Mandarin. So could they take him to Lisboa? I seem to remember there's also a vehicle access point along that straight between Mandarin and Lisboa, where we had a Ginetta being retrieved yesterday. So I'm hesitating a little in saying all of this, but I do think that they could possibly get the car out of harm's way fairly swiftly. Look, they're just where the safety car board is being shown. You can see an access point, but I can't find Roly Sham's car now.
Which might be good news.
Well, yeah.
Because it might already have been removed off the circuit, which would mean they're going to complete 7 laps at the end of this lap.
Do you know what? If I bothered to look out of the window, I would tell you that Roly Sham is on the start line. And that's why...
Hi, Roly.
It won't take long, because the flatbed has arrived.
It's already back.
And they can move that car pretty promptly now. So he didn't go very far at all. I thought he'd limped on a bit more, but now the car sort of ground to a halt coming over the timing line.
We need some marshals down at pit lane entry. Yep. How many do you want? A dozen? Yep. They're all there now, all around the car. And that might mean that we could get 1 lap race. The lights are still on the safety car at the moment, not surprisingly. Roly Sham's car being recovered. The marshals sent back to their post. It's amazing how many marshals we have for this event.
Absolutely.
If you need a bit of help, all of a sudden there's a dozen of them all running down the track to assist. The recovery crew, I think, have got this one covered. And
it's just how quickly they can get the flatbed off the circuit.
Yeah.
So we are at Marshall's post 8 as the safety car comes through. It's going to be touch and go, this.
I think it probably will be. Just in front of our commentary boxes when this recovery is taking place. And I'm not holding out a great deal of hope for this one.
The car is about to be lifted as quickly as.
Take the strain. A couple of marshals just to steady the car down here. No, and the lifters required another attempt at this, so I don't think we're going to do this, are we?
I think part of the problem with the car was it wasn't fully attached to the cradle. I think there was a strap missing, so it then tilted at an angle.
Swung over, didn't it?
Yeah, but having another go at it now.
And now we're seeing those pictures to bring you around the world, wherever you're watching. Very good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the 70th Macau Grand Prix celebration this year. 2 weekends of racing, so the Macau Roadsport Challenge features on the first weekend. It is exclusively for Toyota GR86s and Subaru BRZs this year. We are recovering the number 2 car, Rody Sham, and we are under the control of safety car on lap 7 out of 8. And I rather think that this is going to be another lap behind the safety car. The Rody Sham recovery, so close to the fence as well, isn't it? Is now safely onto, not quite onto the recovery vehicle. But I don't think there's enough time, is there? It's good work.
Yeah, the car is off the track, but the flatbed that it's now placed upon is not, so they can't restart the race. It's going to have to be another lap, and that will be the last lap under the safety car. So we've got a result effectively now.
It's an incredibly skilled job doing these lifts onto the back of flatbed recovery vehicles. And I remember seeing the first one that went slightly wrong. Do you remember the Singapore Grand Prix in 2008? When Nelson Piquet Jr. Crashed? You remember that one? Quite a famous crash.
Yes.
I was stood directly beside where the car crashed, and then the recovery vehicle came and lifted the car up. And this is maybe the smallest part of the story of things that happened. And the car got into a swing.
Right.
And they couldn't stop the car from swinging when they were recovering, when it was in the air, and swung into one of the fences.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, we had to step back.
Wow, gosh.
Yeah, so it's not an easy job.
No.
And it does need marshals to steady the car.
So we're on the last lap, and the Macau Roadsport Challenge, which has been entertaining, is going to deny Lam Can San a chance to challenge, because this is going to be the result, isn't it? They won't be allowed to overtake up to the checkered flag. So just like the TCR Asia race that we had a little while ago this morning, the safety car affects it, and Sekar Hing takes the win. So yeah, Rody Sham clouting the barriers. Opposite our commentary position as well, we can see the wreck of Joe Kwok's car, which did the similar thing but heavier earlier. That's a right mess, that left front corner of that car.
Yeah, it's not nice, is it? Not pretty at all. Lam Can San has had a great race.
Yeah,
it's going to be on the second step of the podium. Started on the outside of row 3 of the grid, so really, really good work. If you bear in mind, limited amount of laps, and taking 2 places in 1 manoeuvre down at Lisboa was perhaps one of the highlights of today's racing so far.
Yeah, I mean, when drivers behave and we get a flow of racing laps in, they're fantastic.
Racing has been superb.
Just, you know, that it gets interrupted by the nature of the circuit. And Murphy's Law today has been that where cars have ended up, it's been away from cranes and you've needed flatbeds. Yesterday we had lots of stoppages, but at least the cranes could be used. But today's incidents are in a different place. And there, Rody Sham's car off the track, but I'm afraid that had it been a 9-lapper, it would have been good for one more. But it's going to be an 8-lap race, and actually we're not far off nudging the clock anyway at 30 minutes.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, so time and laps are both work in conjunction with one another for the distance of this race, so we don't get behind in the schedule today. That was the 3rd race of the day. Car 41 under investigation for disrespecting the safety car procedure, and that's the car of Vincent Ip in the Toyota GR86.
Yeah, you know, I said he was in 19th place after his spin.
Oh, yes.
Well, he's 17th.
Right.
In that no overtaking behind the safety car kind of way.
He's had a really good safety car period, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Really putting in the... So, we will, of course, have a podium once the cars make their way over the line and complete the 8 laps of racing. And we still have a huge amount of entertainment remaining today on the programme at Macau. 2 races for GT cars coming up, for GT4 spec cars and for GT3 cars. The safety car will come in this lap. We've just had that notification on the timing screen. Inevitably, I think we'll get the notification as well that cars will cross the line in the order that they are now in. It will be the second time that we've had that instruction today. But yeah, GT racing coming up with GT4 and GT3, and then second races of the day for TCR Asia Challenge and for the Macau Formula 4 race as well. So loads more coming up, loads to stay tuned to Macau for. But this is going to be our race winner. Sir Kar-Hing, superb in qualifying yesterday. 2 seconds his advantage in qualifying on Saturday, and is about to take the checkered flag to win the Macau Roadsport Challenge.
Checkered flag at the ready then, and it is going to be a win for Sir Kar-Hing from Lam Kan San and Ivan Sito in third place. Safety car in, but it was the last lap anyway, so the drivers greeted with the checkered flag. A shame we couldn't have one more racing lap, but it was not to be, and Sir Kar-Hing, Lam Kan San and Ivan Sito, the top 3 in the sole race for the Macau Roadsport Challenge cars, but a lively race it's been. You've got to feel a bit for Lam Kan San, denied a chance to challenge for the race lead, but such, I'm afraid, is the way of the world at Macau. With
if it
incidents, it's got to be, they've got to be sorted.
If it had carried on the way it was, I'm not sure they would have been in touch, because they were so busy with their battle for second place. Sir Kar-Hing was able to pull away, and as they come down side by side towards he's so desperate to get in front, isn't he? And he can't because it's the slowdown lap. But on that run down towards Lisboa, was he just working through what he had planned for the race?
Maybe.
Had it gone that distance?
Well,
we never saw that move, did we?
No.
For second place.
We might do in the highlights at the end.
Yeah.
I was just thinking Sir Kar-Hing's never gone so slowly, but he's savouring his win in the car that started on pole position, and the driver from Hong Kong, who's had a tough season in his group in the championship, not scoring very well, comes out on top here. It's a shame there isn't another race for these cars today, because they've entertained, haven't they?
They'll be thinking that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It was nice because we saw for the first time the Toyota GR86 on the track. Looked very well suited to the circuit, as did the Subaru BRZ. There weren't 2 classes though, they all race together. They race on equal standings, but the predominance of cars, the Toyotas, and they're a nice looking car as well, aren't they? So that's our race winner.
And a good drive that by Sir Kar-Hing. I mean, he was able to fend off Ivan Sito. Indeed, despite not making the best of starts, he was able to get himself back ahead and then control the pace. He was canny in his driving, being able to not have to push on this narrow section of circuits and therefore maintain the gap when the road was wider and he was perhaps more in jeopardy. He was able to up the pace and scamper away once again. So a good drive by Sir Kar-Hing, and Lam Kan San likewise 6th on the grid to take second place.
And Ivan Sito has got plenty to smile about at the end of that race. That was a superb start. Absolutely brilliant.
Trouble is, though, he was the leader and he ends up 3rd, so it tempers the smile a bit, doesn't it? Because he didn't get mugged.
It does. I'm trying to look for the positives for everyone.
Well, it's a podium, I agree.
A happy podium coming up.
So that's a good result. And unlike some, they've all got undamaged cars. Not everybody can say that if they can.
Yeah, that's good news.
Yeah.
So heading down to pit lane to begin the run up towards the podium celebration, and I don't think we'll get the chance to hear from the drivers on the podium, but we will get to hear them in the press conference, because local time 10:58, the next race here in Macau, half an hour away, the Greater Bay Area GT Cup for GT4 cars. We've got a big grid for GT4 coming up. That's our winner, Sir Kar-Hing, leading the field around. Lam Kan San just behind, and in the blue car, Ivan Sito, car number 21. They head into pit lane. Celebrations will ensue, but although we had 2 safety cars, we did get some jolly good racing from the Macau Roadsport Challenge.
And I like the cars, and I think the concept now of having not quite a 1-make, but a 2-make championship, but with these sort of production saloon Group N spec limited modification regulations works well. And these cars hugely popular in the region and attracting an absolutely bumper grid. If you bear in mind that we've got 23 cars for this, and a comparable number for next week. And there are more that have been seen in the championship. Shows the popularity of low-cost racing in desirable cars. You were a Toyota owner once, weren't you?
I was. I had a Toyota Celica,
yeah,
which was very purple. It would have fitted in around
well,
here.
I was thinking that, yeah. I remember it well.
And also I was lucky enough to be loaned through a sponsorship deal a Toyota GT86 when the cars first came out. And having had that, I realised just how interesting it was to people, because whenever I came back to the car, the driver's window was absolutely covered in finger marks. So people wanted to look in at this new car.
What does Say Kai Hing have on his helmet? Because he's got another name in front of his say, and I'm trying to work out from the script what it says. It almost looks like smart.
Well, that was a smart drive for sure. Very smart indeed. It is going to be a happy podium, isn't it? Those scenes down in Park Fairway.
Anybody that carries the circuit map on their overalls has got to be an enthusiast.
This means so much to people. It means so much to people like us that we're lucky enough to come along to Macau and enjoy this event. But when you see the joy that it brings to local drivers and how much it means to have a good race and to finish on the podium and to do it in front of your friends, your family, your sponsors, all of those things. This is a hugely prestigious weekend. So drivers will be weighed in due course, and they make their way over towards the podium. Podium is coming up with our presenter for the weekend, Janice. And we'll have confirmation of the result. A win for car number 18, Say Kai Hing, pole position and a race win. Lam Kan San having a great race for the Macau driver. Car number 22 in second place. And Ivan Sito, after a great start, finishing up in third place after battling away with Say Kai Hing for the lead of the race, losing out to second and then losing out to third with Lam Kan San. That's going to be your podium in just a couple of moments. Confirmation of the complete result there on the screen for the Macau Roadsport Challenge after 8 laps and 2 safety car interventions. That is the result of the 2023 instalment of the Macau Roadsport Challenge. Say Kai Hing is our race winner, and very soon we'll be seeing him on the podium. Smiling as they make their way over towards the tunnel, the security staff indicating the way that they need to go and stopping anyone that hasn't got the correct pass from following the drivers through. And then immediately the organising people begin to get ready for our next race of the day, which will be for the Greater Bay Area GT Cup. GT4 cars, 8 laps once again. Same for the GT3 cars that follow. And then touring car racing back at Macau. We have 1 race already, a 9-lap race for the TCR Asia Challenge, and they will have another at around about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Bit of a gap. There's an hour gap between, well, 55 minutes between the end of the TCR Asia Challenge and the start of the Macau Formula 4 race, because there will be, there always is before the Macau Grand Prix, a big build-up down here on the grid. We have the traditional lion dance and also the presentation of VIPs from Macau. And today we will have a slightly shortened introduction to the headline race of the weekend for the Macau Formula 4 race, but there will be an on-grid build-up to our final race of the day, a 12-lap race, our longest race of any so far this weekend on day 2 of the 70th Macau Grand Prix. That's the scene down there as the drivers begin to get themselves ready for the podium presentation. The recovery of some of the stricken vehicles back to the teams, get them repaired as much as they can, and opportunities for plenty of photographs over the course of this weekend. The official photographers and supporters, family and team can take photographs of the podium with that huge LED screen, new for last year, as the backdrop to the podium. we are about to enjoy the podium for the Macau Roadsport Challenge.
To the podium presentations.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 70th Macau Grand Prix Macau Roadsport Challenge Trophy Presentation Ceremony. First of all, let's welcome our top 3 finishers to the podium. The second runner-up, number 21, Sito Wengshen Ivan from Hong Kong, China. The first runner-up, number 22, Lam Ken San from Macau, China. And the winner is number 18, Che Ka-heng from Hong Kong, China. Congratulations to our drivers. And I would like to invite the guests to present the laurel and trophy to the top 3 finishers. Let's welcome Mr. Tian Han, Executive Vice President of Strategic Marketing of MGM, to first present the laurel and trophy to our second runner-up, Sito Wengshen Ivan from Hong Kong, China. Congratulations. And I would like to also invite Mr. Tian Han to present the laurel and trophy to our first runner-up, Lam Ken San from Macau, China. Thank you, Mr. Tian Han. And now I would like to invite Mr. Poon Wang Kun, President of the Sports Bureau and Coordinator of the Macau Grand Prix Organizing Committee, to present the laurel and trophy to our winner, number 18, Che Ka-heng from Hong Kong, China. Congratulations. And now I would like to invite our guests together at the center. And the drivers, please reach the top of the podium for a group photo. Congratulations. Thank you, our guests. Thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you, our Greek girls. Would drivers please remain at where you are now? Thank you, ugly girls. Thank you very much. And of course, after the group photo, drivers, it's the champagne shower time. Let's share this glory moments with our drivers. Woo! Woo! Congratulations once again! Thank you very much. And congratulations once again to our top 3 finishers of Macau Roadsport Challenge.